First of all, I want to congratulate my colleague Taish for such an impressive and pleasant lecture. And also, I want to do this because he's talking about future builders, young people who will build the future. And I would attach my presentation to this concept, future, looking at some other aspects like the paradigms which probably we will have to move to. Before doing this, I would remind all of us that on the website of this conference, there is mention of a ManuFuture past and future report, which gives you in only 26 pages most of our history, and this is a concise presentation. There are two aspects. On one side, the first part is devoted more politically speaking to how we have moved in the context within which we are supposed to work. And the second part deals with the results of the first cycle of ManuFuture ending more or less now, and the new cycle which has just started. When I talk about cycles, I refer, to the rules which were given to us at the beginning of ManuFuture, and the new rules and expectations from the commissions which has just been given to us in these days. Now, I would like I was told to be light in presentation. Usually I've been using schemes, complex schemes. They are in the document. Here I want to talk about globalization, which is something which is affecting heavily our world. To be within the given time, I will read some of these slides because I've thought of the sentences before writing them, and it's better if I read. First of all, I would draw your attention to the title, Competitive, Sustainable Globalization, and the subtitle, which is put on top, A New Business Perspective. So it's not just an idea, a futuristic idea, but it's trying to understand what should be, maybe, the future globalization, and how this change to this new paradigm, which is the one on which we will be working as a ManuFuture, how this new paradigm can help, can be interesting, or even represent a problem for for industry. Why this new paradigm? Then, in 2025, globalization has brought many advantages, and we know them, like market expansion to new countries, etc., but also created many large-scale problems, particularly to developing countries. It has been very, very good for some developing countries, but we are having a lot of problems. These problems are causing a crisis which is leading to instability, as already is happening in several advanced countries. Sorry if I do this. Competitive where should I point? Oh, yes. Now it's working. But I'm probably far ahead. Yes. Here I am. Thank you, sorry. In 2025, the majority of consumption will take place in developing economies, thus creating new market opportunities for global manufacturing companies. Meanwhile, in established markets like us, product demand will be almost steady, but highly differentiated. A new equilibrium must be pursued. In this slide, I try to put together something we will talk in a minute regarding the change of paradigm. We have to change paradigm going from economic development down to sustainable development. And in doing this, we will have a lot of challenges that we have to face. And here, what I want to stress is the manufacturing is the enabler of any kind of changes. And of course, being an enabler is also changed by the change. Currently, globalization pursues economic development and in particular competitiveness. It is a very difficult and lengthy process to turn it into sustainability. If the new paradigm is sustainability or sustainable development, well, we should probably try, but it's very, very difficult. It would require a world public authority. That's a dream. Then we must turn to country, region level, where political power can foster and implement progressively sustainable development. The current globalization is oriented and competitiveness, profit, and so on, so is self-sustaining. Good, but we have also to take care of ourselves. We are in the developed countries. Then we must turn, as I said, to country region for sustainable development, for the adoption and implementation. When I say sustainable development, I am not referring only to environment, I'm referring to people, to society, and of course to economics. The progressive adoption of sustainable development by countries or their regions may be defined as the globalization of sustainability. If we have here and there countries or regions adopting sustainability, then we may say that there is an incoming globalization of sustainability. That's a key point because I've reversed what one would normally think. Now, action needed should concern globalization enablers, such as manufacturing, and I come to us, where I intend included products and services, processes, business models, and the related innovation ecosystem. Manufacturing industry, we should not forget, because that gives an idea of the relevance of what we are talking about, is the foundation of national and international economies. It now accounts globally for approximately 60% of the global GDP and 14% of the employment. But below these two figures, there is a lot of other figures important that there is no time to report here. Only one. Services, in Europe, these figures means 6,500 billion euros turnover. A third is represented by added value, 30 million people employed here, and a double 60 million employed by related services. Not to be totally abstract, I like to bring your attention to a well-known figure within our ManuFuture set of illustrations. Manufacturing the enabler is this, what we see here, whose heart is represented by technologies, processes, and all the things we know. Now, I talk about countries going to sustainable development, where we have carried out, in cooperation with CIP, a survey regarding advanced and emerging countries like Brazil, Canada, China, European Union, India, Japan, Korea, USA, Russia, USA, repeated. They are already addressing sustainable development fundamentals. To somehow prove this move, I am reporting here, you see, what? The recent Global Competitiveness Report by the World Economic Forum lists countries' scores concerning singularly and combined competitiveness and social and environmental sustainability. A consistent number of countries gradually moving towards sustainable development. And the countries corresponding to this situation show at the same time good competitiveness values, as well as good sustainability values. Here, the combination of a curve you don't see and this one leads to this. The crossing divides those countries which are competitive and sustainable from the rest. But these countries in the upper part represent something like a third of the 140 countries analyzed by the World Economic Forum. So there are situations already sustaining this approach I am proposing. Now, let's move to Europe. The Smart Specialization Strategy initiative has been dealt with today by several speakers. Now, if we look at Smart Specialization Strategy, the move to this is based on sustainable development, because this is happening within Horizon 2020, and Horizon 2020 is based on sustainable development, mentioned here and there. So if these regions, altogether 17 and 68, or some of them, in going towards the SSS document, they not only find out how far they are towards sustainable development, but also take the initiative, because the power is at the regional level, political power, to move towards sustainable development. And this happens, I say, in 10–15% of our regions. Already we have examples of sustainability adoption by countries, regions, and so on is here. But what is the problem? This is a great occasion we should take advantage of for the new paradigm. And what should we do? We should convince the politicians that beside talking about technologies, they have to talk about a world which is not very is not pleasing politicians because it's not very sexy or glamorous, manufacturing. So we should try to convince them that they should deal with manufacturing in this operation, which is the enabler of sustainable development. Summing up in a certain sense, competitive sustainable globalization would be a dynamic paradigm where new sustainable development-based globalization would progressively emerge. Current economic development, the one we are within the current one, current economic development oriented globalization could gradually turn towards more sustainability. Both processes in due time would integrate within global value chains. The new paradigm of competitive sustainable globalization is emerging with two complementary components, one at global level and one at a regional, local level. The competitive, sustainable global manufacturing will constitute of global manufacturing industry with factories located in countries with competitive advantage, whatever these may be, from tax to labor cost, etc. The competitive, sustainable local manufacturing paradigm will focus on establishing local manufacturing industries. Of course, re-industrialization is within this, mainly where the proximity of the manufacturer to the final customer is critical. And this is just one aspect. This will be increasingly possible as economy of scale importance is diminishing due to the new enabling technologies, and wages, as we have heard, in developing countries are rising. Of course, this kind of discussion leads to the first part of the title, Business Perspectives. Business Perspectives. Also, I would like to add another point. McKinsey report published last year shows that manufacturing is not a monolithic entity. It can be segmented in 5 meta-sectors or segments. And what is interesting is that looking at these 5 segments, you find situations where local manufacturing is prevailing and situations where global manufacturing is prevailing. So it means that already we have situations which may be consistent with this new approach. Then competitive, sustainable, I'm coming to the end. Competitive, sustainable, regional, local manufacturing, which is based on the new and fundamental role to be played by countries and the regions, may contribute to political discussion and inspires policy makers. This is the point. By the way, as a platform, we have been working most of the time making analysis and making proposals to the Commission, which acts as a policy maker. And the policymakers on their side should recognize that industry segments are diverse in a national or regional economy. Their long-term goals for growth, innovation, and exports are best served by supporting critical enablers for manufacturers. The new industrial fabric we talk about has been mentioned several times when reindustrialization was touched, would have a lasting future if reindustrialization, that's the point, would be carried out pursuing sustainable development. As a consequence of all this, a new research and innovation and education ecosystem is required. We are going through a very difficult times, and we can look at them as a crisis means we have to take decisions. We can look at them as a part of the decadence, or we can see what is happening as a part of a new dawn, going up. I close leaving to your internal decision about what this picture means. Thank you for listening.
So I vote for a sunrise, huh?
You have to work for this.
I know. Thank you very much, Franco. That was very inspiring, very interesting. Remarks, comments to Franco? Comments on whether it's sunset or sunrise, I don't know. So, Franco, thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to have you as the final speaker. Last but not least, it's always good to listen to you, and it's food for thought, like always. Thank you very much. Franco.
Thank you. If you allow me 30 seconds, I would,
of course.
From my heart and my brain, thank the organizer of this event. On the 10th anniversary, having this event with so huge participation, it's something which imposes us to work even stronger. Thank you.
Thank you very much.